Your cynicism isn't proof that you're smart. It's proof that you lost a fight and you never went back. I know how that sounds because cynicism feels like intelligence. You see through everything. Nobody plays you. You called the disappointment 3 weeks before it arrived, and when it arrived, you got to say the four sweetest words in the English language. I told you so. And you call it wisdom. But today I want to show you the receipts. Here's what I think actually happened. Somewhere back there, you're fighting for something. Could have been a marriage, a church, a career, a person. You fought hard and you kept losing. And at some point, quietly, without a ceremony, you stopped hoping. And not because you got wise, but because hoping kept costing you. And when's the last time you hoped for something out loud? Now stay with me. This isn't going to be a pep talk. I'm not going to tell you to think positively. I'm going to tell you about the day it snowed at Disneyland in July in the middle of a 100-degree heat wave and what a 5-year-old saw that I completely missed. First, let's name what cynicism actually is because almost nobody does. Everybody talks about it like it's some kind of attitude problem. Like some people just woke up negative, like you chose the eye roll the way you chose your shirt this morning. And that is not how it works. Nobody is born cynical. I mean, have you ever met a cynical 4-year-old? 4-year-olds, they hope at full volume. They hope for things that are truly, flatly impossible in public without embarrassment. They're not cynics. Cynicism is something that gets built, and it gets built one way. You fight, and then you lose. You trust, and it costs you. You hope out loud, and somebody hands you a bill. You do that enough times in your brain, which I think is genuinely trying to actually protect you, makes you an offer. Here's the offer. Stop hoping and you'll stop hurting. Predict the disappointment and the disappointment can't ambush you. Expect nothing from people and people can never let you down again. And the offer comes with a bonus. You get to feel smart. Every time something fails, you were right. Every time someone flakes, you called it. Cynicism is the only armor that hands out trophies. But read the fine print, because the trade is this. You give up being hurt by handing over your ability to be moved. The armor doesn't know the difference between a sword and a sunrise. It blocks both of them. That's the trade. Protection for everything worth protecting. And that feeling of being the smartest one in the room, researchers have tested it. Olga Stravrova and Daniel Elebrecht, they're both at Tilburg University, and they called it the cynical genius illusion. Everybody assumes the cynic is the sharpest mind in the room, and the data says the exact opposite. I mean, think about this. The cynic and the hopeful person can stand in the exact same spot on the exact same day and live two completely different lives. Same weather, same crowd, same circumstances. The difference isn't out there. The difference is the lens. And I know the perfect laboratory to prove it. There's a place that hangs a banner over its own front gate claiming to be the happiest place on earth, and then charges you $200 to walk under it and find out if you agree. Like about 30 years ago, my family and I went to Disneyland. Summertime, Los Angeles. If you've ever done Los Angeles in July, picture standing in a parking lot inside of a hairdryer. That's about right. My daughter was 5-ish, maybe 6. And we did the whole thing, the lines, the strollers, the, I Spy games to survive those lines. And everywhere you looked, you could watch the banner lose. The happiest place on earth, wall to wall with melting children. Ice cream on the pavement, scooped side down, kids who had begged for this trip for a year, sobbing because the line was long and the sun was rude. Parents were doing that, teeth whisper. We're Disneyland and we're going to enjoy it. Same park for everybody. Same heat, same lines. And some families were actually having the best day of their lives. And some, sadly, were having the worst. And they were standing 6 feet apart. The banner doesn't decide, the lens decides. And my daughter was melting. She kept saying how hot it was, and she wasn't wrong. It was over 100 degrees, and a lot of those lines didn't come with a lot of shade. The heat was a fight that nobody in the park could win. I mean, you can't argue with the thermometer. You can't out-stubborn the sun. So I did what reasonable adults do with a fight they can't win. I settled it. I can't beat the heat. Manage expectations instead. Keep the kids moving, get through the day, even if, it was hard to have a good attitude, but I tried to have a good attitude about it. But a good attitude about losing, honestly, is still losing. I had already filed the heat under things that win. I just decided to lose politely. There's something about me I haven't told you yet. I'm a pastor. I've been one for quite a while now, which means hope is supposed to be my native language. I've spent my adult life standing in front of people, telling them that there's more going on than what they can see. And on a 100-degree day at Disneyland, my 5-year-old outbelieved me badly, publicly. And here's how. We were walking through one of the most crowded sections of the park, and I'm doing the dad math. I had a stroller, kids, wife, bags, and one of my jobs was my daughter's whereabouts. And I turned around to grab her hand because it was really getting congested, and she was gone. Now, friends, if you're a parent, I do not have to describe what the next 4 seconds is like for you. If you're not a parent, there's no way I can possibly explain this. The crowd turns into a wall. Your mind goes to every dark place at once, instantly, without your permission. I hollered at my wife to stop. I started backtracking, scanning 10 steps. And there she was, kneeling in the middle of the crowd at Disneyland, hands folded, eyes shut. That kid was praying. And people are streaming around her like she's a rock in a river. This little girl's on her knees on the pavement. Strangest thing I have ever seen. And I got to her and I said, "Sweetie, what are you doing?" She said, "I'm praying." Well, yeah, I can see that. But what in the world are you praying for and why now? She looked up at me and she said, "You always said you can pray and God will answer your prayers. And it's so hot. I'm praying God would make it snow." Oh my goodness. Stand in my shoes. Everything I had ever taught her about God was kneeling on that pavement, taking me at my word. I reached down, I picked her up, and I said, "Sweetie, it's okay. It's the middle of summer. It's not going to snow." You see the professional believer, the guy with hope in the job description, looked at his daughter's hope dead in the face and handed her the forecast. And listen, I wasn't wrong. I mean, that's what makes cynicism so hard to kill. It's almost always technically correct. It was July in Southern California. You see, the cynic in your life is usually right about the facts, and that's why you can't argue them out of it. The lens isn't made of bad facts. It's made of a small definition of winning. What is winning? See, she and I were in the same fight, the heat. I had defined winning as the temperature changing. I checked the math and I surrendered. She defined winning as taking it to someone who could do something about it and knelt down in the crowd in the middle of this massive sea of people. I was managing the fight. She went back into the fight. Same fight, 2 completely different definitions of winning. And only one of us was done hoping. The day went on. The heat never let up. And it didn't snow. Point, Dad. Evening came, sun finally went down. The kids were dragging. We decided, like, we're just going to end the day at the fireworks show at the castle. It was everything that you want. The lights come up, Tinkerbell does her thing, the music swells, and then from somewhere up in those trees, somewhere up in that sky, snowflakes everywhere. We cast across the whole crowd, drifting down over everything, snow falling on a 100-degree day. And you would think that I would have remembered the prayer. And I didn't. I am standing there, caught up in the snow, completely missing it. And I feel this little pull on my pants. And I look down, and my daughter's looking up at me with a face that I'm going to carry to my grave. And she says, "See, I told you it would snow." The snow fell on both of us. And that's the part I need you to sit with. Same snow, same sky, same moment. It fell on the 5-year-old who had asked for it. And it fell on the grown man who had ruled it out. Only one of us saw it. And that's what the lens does. Cynicism doesn't change what happens to you. It changes what you're able to notice. The good thing arrives, and you're the only one in the crowd who can't see it. Because months ago, years ago, you already filed it under impossible. Hope isn't naive. Hope is what keeps your eyes working. Like a Stanford psychologist named Jamil Zaki, who wrote a book making that exact same case. The science says hope is more accurate read of reality, not the naive one. Now, somebody's already typing in the comments, so let me just say it for you. Pause for a moment. Doug, it was a fireworks show. It was fake snow, machines in the trees. Yeah, I know. I get it. I was there. Nobody is claiming that there was a weather miracle in Disneyland. But think about what you just did by thinking that. You went looking for the technicality. You found a reason the snow doesn't count. That's the lens. I'm telling you, the snow fell on 2 people. One of them got the best day of her life out of it, and the other needed a tug on the pants to even look up. And the lens's first move is to check whether the snow was regulation. Friends, snow is never, ever going to be regulation. The good in your life is going to arrive imperfect, partial, late, easy to explain away. The question was never whether it counts. The question is whether you'll be able to see it. Look, Jesus said something about this that I spent years reading all wrong. He said, "I tell you the truth, unless you turn from your sins and become like little children, you will not get into the kingdom of heaven." That's Matthew 18, verse 3. I used to think that because this idea of becoming like a little children meant I was to be innocent or sweet. It doesn't mean that. Have you met children? They're not that sweet. It means something way harder than that. Keep the lens. Children take their impossible things to someone bigger, out loud, without checking the forecast first. And because they do, they're still able to see when the answer falls outside of the sky. The kingdom isn't hiding from you. You've just been wearing the wrong glasses. Cynicism is bitterness with a better vocabulary. And that's all it ever was. It dresses up in words like realistic and discerning and, "Well, I'm just being honest." But underneath the vocabulary is an old wound that decided to become a worldview. You didn't get wise. You got hurt. And nobody ever showed you the difference. So here's where this sharpens. And please listen carefully. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not telling you the fight wasn't real. The marriage really did fail. The church really did hurt you. The people let you down. Your losses are not in your head. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that they're blessings in disguise because some of it is just loss. What I'm telling you is that you defined winning as the outcome obeying you. the temperature changing, the person changing, the verdict reversing. And by that definition, you lost. And by that definition, you'll keep losing because you were never given control of outcomes. Nobody was. That definition of winning has a 100% casualty rate. Breaking the cynicism isn't finally winning the old fight, it's going back to the fight and reframing it. Winning was never the snow showing up on your schedule. Winning is staying the kind of person who asks and keeping the eyes that can see it when it falls. My daughter didn't control the weather that day. She lost the fight that I lost. It stayed hot for both of us. And she had the best day of her life inside the loss because her definition of winning was never hostage to the thermometer. So here's the one thing that I want you to do. Next time you catch yourself reaching for the eye roll, the I knew that wouldn't work, the little hint of being right, stop and ask what you're about to trade for that. Like sitting with something that pokes an old bruise isn't easy. And I understand some of what I might have said today might have landed in a difficult spot for you, but you stayed. And before you click off, think about where you were when this episode started, where you are right now. Maybe you couldn't remember the last time that you hoped for something out loud, and now you know why. That distance, that's everything. Something good is going to fall out of the sky one of these days. It'll be imperfect. It's going to be unscheduled. It'll be easy to explain away. But maybe this time you'll look up. See? I told you it was snow. That's the whole invitation. Think clearly about what you're really fighting for. Live faithfully like someone who asks out loud. There are hard things all around us. And the question isn't, will it get to me, but what will I become because of it? Let's navigate this together with grace and grit and come out hopeful. Grace with grit. I'll see you on the next one.
Hard things come, but you come through. Grace with grit, not a side of way through.